Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Congregation Beit Tikva, the House of Hope. We're happy to have you with us for this beautiful Sabbath service. Hope you have a prayer book at home. If not, just follow with us and sing with us. And we welcome our Cantor, Ephraim Herrera, who is leading us in beautiful music tonight, accompanied by Dankoff. So let's begin with a nigun.
I encourage everyone to get up at home and dance if you'd like. This is a happy tune. It starts off slowly. Okay, ready?
Page 645, top of the page, we'll sing together Lechilach, to a land that I shall show you.
Lechilach, to a land that I will show you. Lechilach, to a place you do not know. Be a blessing.
Let's turn to the meditation before the Hadlakat HaNerot, the kindling of the Sabbath lights. We're on page 121, top of page 121. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. We'll sing together with our cantor.
Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher nisharu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Let's read together. We're on page 126. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created, and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us, and to bring that vision to life. Let's turn a few pages and we'll begin with the Psalms that welcome us into the Sabbath day. We're on Psalm 95, page 130, page 130. Towards the bottom of page 130. This is Psalm 95. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings. In God's hands are the depths of the earth. The peaks of the mountains are God's. God's is the sea, God made it, and the land which God's hands fashioned. Come, let us bow down and kneel, bend the knee before Adonai, our Maker. For Adonai is our God, and we are the people God tends, the flock in God's care. Oh, if you would but heed God's charge this day. Together from Psalm 97, page 133. Adonai is sovereign. Let the earth exult, the many islands rejoice. Dense clouds are around God. Righteousness and justice are the base of God's throne. O you who love Adonai, hate evil. God guards the lives of God's loyal ones, saving them from the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright. O you righteous, rejoice in Adonai, and acclaim God's holy name. Our cantor will lead us. We're looking at Psalm 29. We're on page 136. Havul Adonai, a beautiful melody for Shabbat. Havul Adonai on page 136.
Mizmor leDavid, Havul Adonai b'nei, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kavod shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai b'hadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod yirim, Adonai al hamayim rabim, Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halbanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel, Lebanon v'Sirion, kemo ven remim. Kol Adonai chotzef lahavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yechol el hayalot.
We turn the page. We're on 138, 138, and we'll sing with our cantor and our flautist the beautiful melody for Lecha Dodi on 138. Last verse, number 9.
Lecha Dodi likrat
Chatzi Kaddish. We're on page 144. And we sing together as one congregation, page 144.
We'll wait for the phone.
Yeah. Let's sing together with our cantor.
Yitkadal v'yitkadal shemecha v'amad v'rakirutei v'amlik malchutei v'chai echonu v'yomecho uv'chai echol Beit Yisrael Bagala uv'izman karim v'yimeru Shmera b'mevarach, le'olam me'almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yirbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitgadal v'yitaleh, v'yithalal shmech l'shavrichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushmechata v'nechemata, damiron be'alma, nimeru, amen.
Please turn the page. We're on 146, singing together the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMvorach, Baruch Adonai HaMvorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
The first blessing, Amariv Aravim, we're on 148. 148. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters this time, changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night, and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzebaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv Aravim. The second blessing, giving thanks to God for the gift of Torah and mitzvot, page 150. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim Yisrael. Together we lift our voices for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
So please be comfortable, sit down, relax. Let's turn now to 154. 154, we're reading together the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha v'b'chol nafshecha v'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha v'lechtecha v'derech v'shachlecha v'kumecha v'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments, and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Let's turn a few pages to the beautiful words of Mi Chamocha. Excuse me. We're on 158, page 158. So we continue with the beautiful blessing called Hashkivenu. We're on page 160. We ask God for good counsel, to be sheltered by the wings of the divine, to watch over us on the Sabbath and protect us from illness, famine, and sorrow. Let's read together on 161, 161, top of the page. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace, rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, b'al kol amo Yisrael, b'al Yerushalayim. We're singing
Vishamru,
the Shamru.
the newer version.
The words come from Exodus chapter 31, top of page 162. Vishamru b'nei Israel, may the people of Israel keep the Sabbath.
Vishamru b'nei Israel, et ha-Shabbat, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, et oratam brit olam. Reuven b'nei Israel, ot di le'olam. Reuven b'nei Israel, ot di le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz, uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayidavashi. Vishamru b'nei Israel, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, et oratam brit olam.
So we begin now the 7 blessings for the tefillah, the essential prayer or prayers for this Sabbath evening service. We're on 164. If you're able, please stand up and join us. We begin with a verse from Psalm 51, and then we'll sing the Avot, the Imahot, and the Givurot together. Page 164.
Adonai sevatai tifkach, ufia tehillatcha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ahel Hadador HaMimor v'Hadorah, Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Kodei HaKol, Zocher Chatzliavot v'Imahot, U'meri Geula Livnei Bneihem, L'man Shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham v'Yitzchak Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechael ha'kol Adonai Hoshia. Mechalkel chayim v'chesed, Mechayeh ha'kol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofech godim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunatol, Lishenei afar, Bichamocha
171 in the middle of page 171. Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You may all be seated, be comfortable. Let's continue reading together on top of 173. 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. We continue with the Ritzeh. Let's read together on 175, top of page 175. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. Let's continue with the blessing of Thanksgiving. The Modim Anachnu Lach. We're on page 176. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives, the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, sh'tov shimcha lecha na'eh lehodot. We come now to the beautiful melody of Shalom Rav. We're on 178. Let's sing together.
Shalom Rav al Israel Amcha, Kasim Leolam.
pause for our own personal prayers.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you. Be acceptable to you. Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Lord, my rock and redeemer.
Let's pause for a moment and think about our loved ones, our family, our friends, all of our congregants, relatives all over the country in need of strengthening and healing. Before we sing Mishaberach, let's consider many of our dearest ones who are in need of a special blessing. We're thinking of Cantor Ephraim's father, Eleodoro Herrera, and our Cantor as well, Cantor Ephraim.
Thank you.
And we remember also David Mattis, Doreen Herdig, Lynn Kelly, Flo Vinnick, Arlene Vinnick, Bonnie Cantor. And I think there are probably a few more we would like to.
Toby Carps and Avery Wasner and Lela Dawkins.
Thank you, Dirk. Cantor, any others?
No.
So we are on page 371, and we'll sing together the Mishaberach in the middle of the page.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
So we find ourselves in the middle of Exodus, as you know, in Shemot, in a magnificent Torah portion called Terumah, which literally means a gift or an offering. Think of what's happening. The people are in the desert. The Israelites are wandering through the desert. God commands us to build a mishkan, a sanctuary, a portable synagogue that will be carried on the shoulders of the Levites. And what's in the sanctuary? One of the most important items in the sanctuary is, in fact, the altar, the mizbeach. It seems like a very ancient, so to speak, anachronistic term. Why do we need an altar? In the ancient world, they needed an altar because that's where they presented all of the gifts, all of the animal sacrifices, as well as the grain sacrifices, things that came from the produce of the land. But the altar is more than just a physical thing. It is a visible sign of God's presence in the material, in the real world. In other words, it's a way of saying we're trying to bring God down into our world, into our own material, physical reality. And this microcosm reminds us that everything that we do and everything that we actually have in our lives has the potential for Kedusha. It has the potential for holiness. In other words, everything that we can do can be made special, can be made to be holy. So I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next few moments. As I said, the Torah portion is called Terumah, which means a gift or an offering. Who needs gifts? Well, all of us need gifts, right? At least when we get to our bar, bat mitzvah, or a birthday, we all would like to have a gift, no matter how old we may be. The question is, why does God need gifts? Does God need anything, really? Remember what the Torah tells us in the beginning of this portion? Tell the Israelite people to bring me gifts. You shall accept the gifts from me, meaning for the divine, from every person whose heart so moves him, whose heart so moves her. So before we talk about our gifts, let's talk about God's gifts to us. What has God done for us lately in the book of Exodus? First of all, God gave us the 10 Commandments, right? Not so long ago. God split the sea for our safe crossing from our exit from the Egyptians. God also gave us manna in the desert to keep us sustained, provided for us all the upkeep that we would need, if we were going to a 4-star hotel, of which there were none in the Sinai. God really has done everything in the world for us, and we, the Jewish people, at this point in history, have done nothing for the divine. So the Holy One says, they shall bring gifts of gold, silver, copper, and brass, and fine linens and other anointing spices and oils, precious oils. Does God really need all that stuff, that material stuff? Certainly, I would say God could live without it, right? But on the other hand, the Jewish people said to God in the previous chapter, we shall do and we shall hear. In other words, we will do the commandments and we'll hear them also. We'll listen, we'll study, we'll learn about them. So if we're going to do the commandments, that implies we have to bring some stuff with us. We have to take some baggage with us. And the baggage, I think you can intuit, has to do with what we do as human beings. Some gifts are impossible to, so to speak, explain, but I would suggest the gifts that we are supposed to bring to God, it's not about gold and silver, it's about commitment. It's about saying, yes, I really will be Jewish. I really will hold on to my faith and do something about it. It's one thing to be engulfed with thunder and fire and clouds of the divine at Mount Sinai. It's another thing to say, we will do it and we will hear it. It's another thing to say, okay, now I'm going to listen and study and learn what God wants us to do. So for some people, it's easier to listen. And for some people, actually, it's easier to give. Some people actually like to give. I wish that would happen for every single person in our congregation. or every single person in our Jewish world throughout this country. If we gave a little more, we would be so much more uplifted in our daily work. But God says, tell the Israelites to bring me gifts, any size of gift, and we'll see what you mean. In other words, will you put your pocket where your mouth really is? Think about it. So besides this so-called fundraising campaign, I think it's much more than a fundraising campaign. What it really is a challenge to the Jewish people, to the Israelites in the desert, to say, will you convert yourselves to becoming faithful human beings in relationship with the divine? Will you really make a commitment to be with the divine? And the reason I bring this idea of commitment up is that ultimately what's happening in the building of the sanctuary, building of an altar, bringing a menorah into the sanctuary, an eternal lamp into the sanctuary, all of this is a way of saying we have a partnership. We have a God-human partnership that goes on throughout our lives. And it's manifested itself. That partnership actually shows up in 3 different ways. It shows up in time, in space, and in person. Time, space, and person. In some of the mystical books of the 13th, 14th century, time, space, and person are translated in Hebrew as olam, shana, shana means time, and nefesh, because a nefesh is a person or a soul. What does that mean? That commitment is manifested in time, space, and person. It means, for example, that the Sabbath is given to us as a sanctification of time. And it's our commitment to remember the Sabbath. We build a sanctuary, just as we built this beautiful Beit Tikva 25 years ago. That's our commitment to space, to be able to come together and worship together. And what about a person? A person is somebody who does mitzvot, who takes upon one's shoulders the obligation of doing good deeds, of sacred deeds. So that's how time, space, and person are part of the partnership between ourselves and that which is beyond ourselves. And that's why I think this Torah portion is so important. Let them make for me a sanctuary that I will dwell among them. In other words, if we're willing to bring gifts, then we're willing to do the hard work of building the sanctuary. We're willing to build a place where we can come together to pray, to study, to celebrate, to dance, to have bar and bat mitzvahs, to do all the holidays together. It's not just a place, it's a place where God comes down into our space and becomes part of us, becomes part of that connection, that partnership, which is ongoing. Most of the time we forget it. Most of the time we forget about it, but hopefully certain days of the week, certain times of the year, it becomes real in our hearts. That to me is the essence of this Torah portion of Terumah. It's a way of bringing our gifts of ourself to lift them up to a place where we literally know not where they may go, but it's a way of fulfilling the obligation of saying, I am with you, I am your partner. I will constantly be connected to you. And that's what Terumah really means. Gifts are not gifts, gifts are a way of saying, I am a partner with the divine. Shabbat Shalom. So I want to say special thanks to Cantor Ephraim for being with us this Shabbat, and Wendy Dankoff with all of your wonderful music that you always grace us with every Friday. Thank you, Lela, for recording this service, and all of our members of the board who are with us praying together today. So tomorrow morning we'll have Torah study, excuse me, yeah, Shabbat morning, we will have Torah study at 9:30. Monday, we have a special program at 2 o'clock, Monday afternoon at 2 on Zoom. It's called Humor in Native American Culture. One of the noted artists here in the New Mexico Native American community will be speaking about humor in relationship to his own tribal community. So his own native community. So please join us on Zoom at 2 o'clock. You'll get a notice for that. Any other special things happening? That's, yeah. So we look forward, I hope all of you will be with us for Shabbat. Come tell your friends about Beit Tikva. We'll be recording again for next Shabbat, and you'll take a look in the New Mexican this coming week. You'll see our first ad letting the whole community know what we're doing and all the good things that are happening in Congregation Beit Tikva. Yes, if you're interested in celebrating Passover with us here in the sanctuary, we sent out invitations to every congregant, and it will be Sunday, March 28th, 6 o'clock, Sunday night, March 28th. We have room for a limited number of folks to be with us in the sanctuary, and some of you may want to just come and pick up your special Passover Seder dinner and go celebrate at home. If you want to be here and be real, make your reservation very soon. Okay, our closing prayers are on page 586. Page 586. Please rise for the Aleinu. Before the open ark, page 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל העולם, ואנחנו קולים, ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed from this earth, our own loved ones, and those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked. As we remember all of them this Sabbath, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss of life and of death. During this period of Shloshim, we remember cousin of Jolene and Robert, Jolene Gears, dear cousin Leon Stanford, who passed away just a few days ago. May his name always be remembered for a blessing in our lives. Their Yardside Memorial during this coming week, we recall with love and devotion Barry Klein, friend of our congregation, and Max Sherman, father of Robert Sherman. Let's turn to the Kaddish. We're on page 598. Page 598, we'll recite the Kaddish together. Yet Gadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yibrach yirutei, v'yamlech v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei amaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpahar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalah shemei kudsha brichu Lela mikol birchata v'shirata Tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiram v'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba mitzhamaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom v'roma, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May the source of life, bring harmony to us, to everyone in this world, our congregation, all congregations throughout the United States and in Israel. We say shalom.
Ose shalom v'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
The words for the Kiddush are on page 123. Page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, orei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kisham b'mitzvotav v'atzavanu, v'shamar kadsho v'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ihu yom tehillah lemikraei kodesh, zecher metziat Mitzrayim. Kimanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kiddashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kadsecha, v'ahava u'ratzon, inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim tovim, Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.